Are you prepared for retirement? Well, according to an online article by the Washington Post just last week, 71% of Americans aren't saving enough. So what does that mean for you? Here to answer that and other important questions, of course, is Ohio's retirement coach, Greg Taylor, president of Legacy Retirement Group. Always good to see you on a Monday morning, Greg.
It's always great to be here on a Monday.
Although I will tell you that statistic is a little bit alarming because that is a huge majority of the population. I mean, that's kind of a shocking statistic, right? I mean, are you finding that in your practice?
Yes, because, we now have a generation that primarily is immediate gratification. And, when you take money out of your paycheck and stick it into that 401k, there's not a whole lot of gratification going on,
No.
Other than the fact, you just got some free money if your employer matches. That should be gratifying. So you should definitely take advantage of those types of things.
All right. So how do we know, though? How do we know how much we should be saving to have a comfortable lifestyle?
Well, understand this, that if you don't have it, you don't miss it as much. So set aside as much as you possibly can and not have to drastically change your lifestyle or move out of your house or things like that. Save as much as you can. Now, the amount is going to be different for every family based on, is it a single individual? Is it a married couple?
Sure.
So now do you have one or two incomes? Even Social Security incomes can make a big difference. Also, is there some sort of pension? Those are becoming few and far between, but some families still do have that. So if you have a pension, and then what's it going to take to help you maintain the lifestyle that you're comfortable with? Is it going to take another $20,000? Is it going to take another $30,000 a year? So imagine this, if you're going to retire and you need $25,000 a year, you better have at least $500,000 saved. Otherwise, you're going to be falling short.
Okay, and that's a big number, so you got to have a plan to get there.
You do.
All right, Greg, this question, as I get closer to retirement, how do I minimize risk in my portfolio and still grow my money? Is it possible to have it both ways?
Well, it is, but you really have to go from the passive strategy of just buy and hold and let the markets work out over a 20 or 30-year span, and that certainly can work, and it has for many, many people. But the closer you get to retirement, or if you are in retirement now, a devastating drop in the market could be devastating to your retirement future. So now we have to have what we call and use in our practice, which is a tactically managed portfolio, which is going to shift you over into safety if they see that you're in the middle of harm's way. They're not going to let you take those huge dips.
Okay.
So therefore, you can have the growth of the market. You can have something monitoring your portfolio to let you know where you stand, and then a tactical management strategy to get you out of harm's way when things are going horribly bad.
Right, you have that safety net.
Yes,
kind of keep
that's exactly right.
Okay, all right, Greg. Number 3, is the 4% rule a good rule of thumb for how much to withdraw from my retirement accounts each year?
Well, you have to understand when the 4% rule came about. It came about back in the 1980s. And at that time, the markets were going really well, and interest rates were coming down, which made bonds very attractive. So at that point, putting 50% in stocks and 50% in bonds and taking 4% out wasn't necessarily a bad strategy. In fact, it worked really, really well. Today, that strategy, as long as everything's going hunky-dory on the market side, is going to work out okay. But if we see a big drop and we see a rise in interest rates, that could go horribly wrong really, really fast. So you need to have more of a predictable strategy.
Yeah, I was going to say that one's a little risky then this day and age.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably drop that down to 2.5% or 3% if I wanted to be sure. If I was going to keep all my eggs in the Wall Street world, I better take a little less withdrawal rate out if I don't want to run out of money and I want to live into my 90s.
Okay, Greg, lastly, what is the biggest misconception about retirement, especially from your perspective as a financial planner?
Well, the biggest thing that we see as a hindrance for people is thinking that what got me to retirement is the same strategy that's going to get me through retirement. And the accumulation phase of our life where we can really ride out those big drops of the market and still be okay.
Sure.
That mindset can literally devastate you when you retire and you need to draw income. So realizing that risk can be an awesome thing as you're growing your money, but it can be the thing that totally blows your retirement apart if you catch it at the wrong time.
All right. If you have a question for Greg, just email questions@ohiosretirementcoach.com. Always good advice. Thanks, Greg.
You're welcome.
Well, from politicians and TV commentators to celebrities and authors, many people have been warning about this economic bubble that might just burst in the near future. So Greg back with us after the break to give us his take.